eliminate what Lorenzo and Maxine did. There will be no more districts. I mean, everybody be elected at large again. There'll be no more blacks elected. And that is, again, Hightower himself from your paper, folks, Littlefield is saying this, that's his objective. So, the upcoming election is really the most critical election of my lifetime. I went through the 60s, I went through the 70s, I've been through riots, I was at the Democrat convention in '68 in Chicago. I mean, I've seen some heavy stuff. But things are worse now than they've ever been, and are going to get worse if something heavy is not done. So what I'm saying is, know your enemy. It's bigger than you think, but do what you can. Any questions? Okay.
It's about that 1971 riot that you talked about.
Pardon?
The 1971 riot with Wilson Pickett. Remember you talked about the 1971 riot. Wilson Pickett was going to sing, and then they started going through the nightclubs.
Yes.
The thing I wanted to point out about that was my brother had just got back from Vietnam, and he worked out where I lived in Georgia. And we were on our way. He had to go back through McCullough Homes and sitting right there at the intersection of Central Avenue and 38th Street. As you get ready to turn into McCullough Homes, that's where he and his wife lived at the time. With a big machine gun, and I just thought about him being in a war and had to come home. And again,
And it's worse here than
yeah, I thought about that. And the other thing was during that 1987 thing where we were facing the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
That was when we found out that Byron D. LeBeckwith was living up there on Signal Mountain. And if anybody don't know who Byron D. LeBeckwith is, he was the one who was finally convicted of murdering niggers. He was living on Signal Mountain and lived there, and not just lived there, but was protected living there.
Yes, he was protected there. And he came here because Chattanooga was, if anywhere in the country he could have went, Chattanooga was the most safe place for D. Lee Beckwith. And he was living openly there.
And then one more question, I'm going to let somebody else. Which riot was it that Pistol Pack and, is it Pete or Pat Rose?
Pardon?
Pistol Pack and Pat Rose, the mayor of the city of Chattanooga, went over and participated in the riot. Which one was that? There was a riot in 1980, you remember?
Which mayor?
Pat Rose was the mayor.
Pardon?
Pat Rose.
Yeah, Pat Rose, yeah, he was the mayor.
And he strapped on a gun. You remember, went down there? And the paper called him Pistol Pack and Pat.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of pictures of that, was why I didn't mean to neglect Pat, but I put this together kind of hurriedly with pictures I could find at the library. But on what you was talking earlier about the attacking people at the clubs and stuff, I did get a great first-person newspaper account about a man who lived on 10th Street. And he was a postal carrier, and he'd been at work all day, and he got back to his house, and he saw them coming out and beating people and stuff. He was in his yard, and there was a minister, I can't remember his name now, but I've got it in my papers, went up to the college protesting because two guys had stopped and bought a sandwich and got back to the cart, and they come up and started beating them with clubs. They started beating the prick that they took him in too. And the guys watching them, they went over and got him, and he was at his house. And they said, you got to get off the street, you got to go home. I'm at home. They took him in, they charged him with public drunk, he requested a breath test, he hadn't had a drink in 2 weeks, and they convicted him. I mean, the cops was doing this for fun. It didn't have anything to do with what happened at the Memorial Auditorium. They just saw an excuse to go out and beat people. They wanted to get their stick time in, as they call it.